This video is going to look at the different ways cells communicate. And when cells communicate, say with a hormone, we're just going to look at hormones, the message has to cross the membrane. And so there's two major types of hormones. The first one's a steroid hormone. And steroid hormones are lipids, and so they're nonpolar, and so by definition, they can cross the membrane freely. And so when it crosses the membrane and diffuses in, it has a receptor inside the cell, and that receptor is made to fit the steroid hormone. And so there's no use having receptors on the outside of the cell for a steroid, because steroids can go into the cell. And so once that forms a signal receptor complex, it's going to float off, and normally it goes all the way through the nuclear envelope to the nucleus and creates some change on a DNA gene expression level. But what I want you to focus on is that it goes through the membrane. It's a steroid, it's nonpolar, it can travel directly through the membrane. On the other hand, you have protein hormones, and protein hormones are polar, they tend to be large, and so they're not going to be able to travel through the membrane. They're going to be floating around, and so they need a receptor in order for their message to get through. And so receptors, like these here, when the protein comes in and binds, often they'll travel, and multiple protein hormone receptors will complex with each other. And so there's your protein receptors. And they need to pass the message through the membrane in a different way. And so these protein receptors, they're transmembrane proteins. They span the membrane. And then they have these other molecules, these second messengers on the inside of the membrane that can come and complex with them. And in that way, they're activated. And so this is like cyclic AMP. And so there's some activation. We'll just draw a little squiggle there. So cyclic AMP is a second messenger. And so these molecules that come in and they are activated by these transmembrane proteins, they're the reason that protein hormones can send the message through the membrane. And then they relay that message to a number of other signal molecules, setting off a signal transduction cascade where this cyclic AMP that's activated can travel and bond with this molecule here, and then it activates that molecule, and then that molecule can go on to do other things in the cell or to activate other molecules. And so in that way, the message is sent throughout the cell. And remember, there would be many, many cyclic AMPs and many, many other molecules like protein kinases, like that orange molecule there, receiving that signal and then passing it on in different ways. And so that's how protein hormones work. So, key things with protein hormones, they can't pass the message through the membrane, so they have transmembrane receptors on the membrane that activate second messengers inside the cell, and those second messengers, like cyclic AMP, spread the message throughout the cell's interior by activating various molecules.